Sometimes you have technical difficulties and then sometimes you don't. Well, we are live and welcome. This is Power, Season 6, Episode 10. We have the full crew here.
So, including Utopia. A lot of you guys wanted to see her back, so here she is. Hey. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you guys.
Yes, so, wow, what an episode.
To say the least.
I don't know how to feel.
I do. I'm not happy.
I heard that a lot. I heard a lot of people saying they weren't happy. I felt like a little indifferent. Like at first I was upset, but then I was like trying to think my way through it, and it just kind of made me a little bit more upset trying to figure it out. But I'm hoping that the show writers don't let us down.
Any more than they have, you mean?
I was going to say, you're already there.
So where do we begin with this, to say the very least, saga? It was very typical of some of the earlier finales that we discussed. I don't want to mention any other shows, but I think this one, if it were a balloon, it popped. Where do you want to start?
Well, first of all, the episode kind of was introduced with Ghost in his hotel room, and he's sitting on his bed. He first makes the call to Tariq to kind of go ahead and arrange a meetup with him later on during the day, but then he also talks to Ramona, and he gets this big news, that he's been announced to be Lorette's running mate, which was a big deal for him. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking that, in their headlines, they had also that, Ghost was formerly involved in a murder case and that he was exonerated. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, was that really necessary to mention? I understand trying to get ahead of things, but...
I do for a number of reasons. One, from the campaign perspective,
right?
Because that was what she wanted, actually, to have, like, oh, here's this criminal, this drug boy, and then he grew up and the cops were messing with him, but they cleaned his name, and from the perspective of Ghost, I think that made him feel so good.
Yeah, so you're saying, and it makes him more relatable to the community that he's going to be servicing.
Right, because he's part of the community. Bad boy turns good.
That's what I was saying. Bad boy turns good.
Yeah, and it has a lot of positive implications in the neighborhood and the community.
People like Rags, the richest story.
Yeah.
To come up,
And it solidified him to the public in his mind. Because think about it, he been trying to do this whole pretty much show, right?
Right.
He wanted to go legit, and now it has superseded everything, because not only is he legit, but he's somebody. Like Lieutenant Governor, really?
You got a nice ring to it, right?
Right.
Nice
That's
little
serious.
Ring. That's true, but I know we'll get into what happens after that.
Yeah.
But I let me say this first, because I've been been accused of a lot of things, being a psychopath for a Ghost, which I am not.
I didn't say that. I think it was one of the comments.
Yeah, hey, it's all good. I'm not mad at you, and I'm not going to, won't mention any names, but I'm not a psychopath. But I think that if you stay with us, if you've been with us for a while, I think you will realize that I'm not so much in love with Ghost that I can't see his ills. Yeah, look, the first thing he did wrong was to get married and have kids. You're a kingpin. That's not in your...
They want to be loved too, though.
Yeah, but the problem is, you bring a lot of heat to your family.
What's happening?
So, anyways, I don't know what to say except...
Well, I guess the biggest thing, the next thing was that,
What's it say?
All right, so we're going to take a pause for a second.
Yeah. What did it say?
Are we live, guys? In the comments,
yes.
Let us know if we are live, because obviously you guys are watching.
Nikki's phone said it was.
Just trying to figure out, first of all, if everybody can see and hear us before we get too far into the conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to double check and see where we are. So just hang on a second.
See, so we're live.
So guys, in the comments, can you let us know if you can see and hear us? Because some people are saying that maybe they can or can't. So if you guys can send us a comment, let us know if you can see and hear us. Yes. Okay. Yes, we can see it here.
Yeah, I can, and it's on
Okay.
your phone, so we're good.
All right. Just checking and making sure.
This is called a sweat box. Okay, so I just want to let you know what's going on. But you know, we don't do this often, but maybe we should.
Yeah,
but
these are the nuances of going live, you know.
yeah, well, it's look, it's the equipment. What can I say? I'm never going to take the blame of anything going wrong. You know, I'm like Ghost. Remember?
Oh no! Please don't be like
Accepting
that.
I want you to
accountability.
confess.
But anyway, getting back to what we were saying. Oh, back to what I was saying. I'm not, so inclined with Ghost that I can't see his faults. He's got quite a few of them. I'm not going to say this whole thing. Thank you very much to the small skeleton crew that we have. I had a thumbs up. But anyway, I cannot say that Ghost is responsible for everything. And if you've been checking out Tasha lately, we see that Tasha, she's a bad girl. Now, I mean that in the good and bad sense, but more so the bad sense. Tasha's been involved with a lot of things. Ghost is Ghost. He's a businessman. He wanted to be a businessman. He's always wanted to be a businessman. And these are the things that I was bringing out since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, getting to this show, Courtney, I understand that you wrote the series, this particular episode on the couch, and it was from the perspective of one person, which was a ghost. While I love the fact that you thought that would work and would work well, I just think that a lot went wrong in this show. And
I think I tend to agree with you. There are a lot of like small things that kind of got overlooked, certain details, and we'll discuss more of that as we get to those topics. But I agree in that there could have been a little more attention paid to certain things, especially when you're in the finale and you have fans as invested as we are. There's no room for error when you got such a huge show like this, and it's the last season. And
this Game of Thrones finale that you put on.
I was going to go there.
Yeah.
They say Game of Thrones let me down this season.
yeah.
And I was looking for more from Power, so don't let me
especially
down.
with this being an extended episode,
Yeah.
like I felt like it could have done way more to explain things that hadn't been touched yet. And they kind of just dragged it out for the sake of dragging it out. But I'm just like, you didn't answer a lot of questions that we had.
I don't know. I think I like the suspense. I'm sorry, but I like the suspense. I mean, I think every episode that I see now, or lately, I should say, it's been, literally, we have to take notes because it's so much going on. And I know, and to your point, originally it was all about Ghost, right? Ghost. But now, each of the characters, if you think about it, each of the characters, even the ones that have died, right, because they're coming back to life, but through their spirit anyway.
Right. Oh my God.
All of them have a story, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So it used to be Ghost. But now look at Tariq, look at Tasha. Everybody's got some substance to them now.
That's true.
So I actually like that part.
I do like that.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. But we don't expound on it though. Yeah.
You have to still make sure you don't drop the ball on other
Yes,
ones.
you got to close the loophole on something.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, we don't know what happened to BG, Black Grimace. He got killed by Dre a few episodes ago.
Well, he's
We
Ghost.
don't know
Never heard
if he has been found. Have we found him? Does Tommy know he's dead?
No, he's Ghost.
But remember,
Or is he's just that small of a character that we don't have to...
Well, no, I think that even if he is considered to be a small character, which, by standards of Ghost or Tasha or Tommy, he might be, but he was a significant part of the character for us to know that you killed him. And now, is anybody aware that he's dead? We never got to that.
And he was the closest to Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy should have.
And if anybody should know.
Like his right hand.
Exactly. And even when Tommy saw that his crew was getting locked up, he didn't see BG. So you would wonder, at some point that would have had to have been answered, and it wasn't. And so we can get past that, but with this show, one of the other things that bothered me is Ghost and his demons, or not demons so much, but the other ghosts that keep coming back. And this Angie thing is real deep. He's not only seeing her, he's
able to touch her, and
he's
able
feeling
to
the love.
Feeling the love.
And he's still connected to her. He hasn't let her go.
Right.
That's
he doesn't want to let her go.
He doesn't want to let her go, but I found it interesting, even when they were in the scene when she came back and she said she knew about Ramona.
Yep.
It was almost as if she was giving him permission
Yeah.
to let her go.
Because I think he would feel guilty moving on so quickly.
Well, he did.
I know, but
I mean,
I guess his subconscious letting him know that it's okay to move on via Angie, like kind of saying that he feels at ease, saying, okay, I can let go of my guilt of moving on from my real true love and try to pursue something else. Like, don't get in the way of what could be.
But is it really love with Ramona, or is it really like
I think
couple episodes ago when I was here, when I said, when you guys said, do you think he can really fall for, you know, Ramona? And I said, well, it's about what she's giving him. I think he's more in love with the life,
status, and what the appearance is.
well, I think,
and because she's believing in him.
and well, let's get there. Let's get there. Let's get right there.
And
Don't
she-
let. Yes, I want
Ron
to.
cannot go a single episode
Without reminding
Because-
us of how Tasha.
You gotta understand, ladies. You have to understand, men. Look,
because she didn't believe.
She
didn't believe in him.
Legit. I don't think it was so much that she didn't believe in him going legit. I think that that's the only life she knew, not only for herself but for Ghost. I think that if she had really stepped back and really saw, but remember too, Ghost never really let her in the way that.
That's what I was saying.
okay, but
I
look.
was saying that all
Okay,
along.
Ghost opened the door with, "Hey, Tasha, I want to get out of the drug status. Hold up. I wanted to get out of the drug status. I want to get into this legit business." She shut it down right after he took his last breath. She shut it down. My point is, had she said even as much as, well, let's sit down and talk about it. Let's give him a chance
She should have done that.
to open up.
But they should have had that conversation before he took the money to start the club.
Well, now
he had already taken the money and opened the club.
But
that's what I mean by him not letting her in.
But what I'm saying is she didn't know that. So my point is the comment that she made.
She knew that. That's why she confronted
She
him at the
did
club.
not know him at that point. When he asked about leaving and getting out, she didn't know that. So my point is, to her is, she should have said, okay, let's sit down and talk about it. Let's see what you got. Show me your hand.
Why are you putting the onus on her?
It's not onus. What I'm simply saying is, if your man comes to you with a change of plans, like, hey, I want to live, I want to get out of this drug thing, and you say, oh, hey, I like the money. You can hang in there.
Let me
just hang on in there for a little bit.
Let me take you back to a conversation that Tasha had with Tariq. And she told Tariq that Ghost is the one that taught me the game, right? So, with that said, he engaged her. He taught her everything about the game. When it came to the legit stuff, she was over here.
Yeah, but that over there keeps him out there, which keeps him dead. So I mean, my whole point is, if it means more to you as his wife to take chances on his life every single moment of every single day, if it means more to you to stay in there and have him do that, then we got issues to talk about.
Can we agree that they both could have said something?
I agree.
Better communication between the
I
both
agree.
of them.
So let's fast forward to where we are now, because everything is a total mess. Everybody's lying. Everybody's doing whatever it is they want to do. And now we got a mess. We got a complete mess. I'm sorry. Go.
Well, I was just going to mention that, kind of like on the subject of Ghost and Tasha and their relationship, Courtney in the after show, she kind of had a comment about Tasha, and although I don't agree with it, but she was saying Tasha signed up to be in the life. That's what she signed up for. She was down for the lifestyle.
Exactly.
And when Ghost switched up on her, that's not what she signed up for. And so that was like Ghost's mistake in not letting, like,
this ain't a used car.
well, I know you like to say
to
that,
come around
but
to the idea.
exactly.
Because the season
and she was saying that everything happened.
she was
bam,
wrong.
bam,
Okay.
bam, bam. Yeah,
I got that.
She was wrong.
I
She
got that.
recognized, like, okay, he can really do this.
but
I mean, she came around too little, too late.
Right.
yeah.
But she did come around. She wasn't given enough time to
And
grasp.
I was going to say that because from our perspective, we're seeing this play out over a series of weeks. But in the show's timeline, this is all happening in a very short
It was
period
very
of time.
rapid.
And so it's like you opened the club, you tell me you went out to life, you tell me you got a new woman, you move out with the new woman. All this stuff happened back to back.
Those were horrendous mistakes he made.
Okay, thank you for acknowledging that.
No, I mean, I'll admit that.
That's all I was saying all along.
Those were horrendous mistakes he made, and I agree to that. I mean, I I don't indulge in anybody just dropping your family like they never existed. Come on, that's not right by any standards.
Okay.
By
Well,
any standards.
while we're on the topic of Tasha and Ghost, they had a moment at Raina's gravesite this episode. And I think that was a sobering moment for Tasha because it's like the finality of it all where Ghost is kind of like, I'm moving on and I'm releasing you. I didn't like that word.
I didn't like that.
It hurt.
You ladies
It hurt.
kill
It
me.
hurt.
No,
No,
it's
it hurt.
the man has. She has been.
It didn't have
She
to be
had-
at the gravesite.
Okay, where would it have been?
And
At a
stuff.
spa?
And
spa
I'm
day?
releasing you
Look.
from this marriage.
Yeah.
Like
She released him. She's been saying.
No. Wait.
He rolled out.
Oh, I'm sorry. As far
Wait
no,
out.
no. I
He
don't
released
mean
her.
no. I don't. Let's not.
She
not
never
ponder.
wanted to divorce Ghost. She never wanted to leave Ghost. She never. This was all Ghost.
No.
He forced all of this on
Okay,
her.
but what I'm saying is, she's been calling herself what, Miss Green.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, of course
she's been
she is.
okay.
She's mad.
Okay,
She's
but
hurt,
at some
all
point,
that.
as we thought, or at least I thought, she was moving forward. I thought she was moving
Never.
on.
I never did.
Well, that's because I guess I'm a man. You guys, y'all ladies are women. You think things a little differently than we do. I suppose
Why did you think she was going? Because she got with somebody else?
No. I mean, because he was with somebody, she's with somebody.
That doesn't mean anything.
No, I agree.
Tit for tat.
But my point was,
Yeah.
all she's been asking for the whole time is this divorce.
No, she didn't mean it though.
Well, see,
You gotta see through that.
She was hurt.
You gotta see
She
through
was
that.
hurt.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay.
I said. Yeah, she
Okay,
was hurt.
guys, look.
Because
But
you have seen
I mean, what is anybody commenting about? I mean,
Yeah,
I'd
I'm
like
trying
to
to
know
say,
what
who's still
the
comments?
viewers
'Cause I'm not
think
seeing.
about whether or not Tasha really, wanted out of this marriage. I don't think so. I think if Ghost today came back, like say, okay, so he got shot, right? Let's say he lived,
Mhm.
and he came back and he said, Tasha, Tasha would be all over that.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people love to bring up all of Tasha's side relationships and stuff, but I think that Tasha, while she was very scandalous early on, I think that Ghost would definitely, like you said, he consummated the relationship first. And so everything happened after that, he forced her hand over.
A woman scorned.
Yes,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's a domino effect.
I think so. I mean, and I think to your point about the divorce, I think that once she had moved on with Terry Silver and she thought that there was some potential there, that's when she became serious about the divorce.
Right.
And Ghost kind of was like shutting her down at
But
that point. Like, no.
Several people can play dominoes at the same time.
Well, he
So-
wanted her to play house. So for
I'm just
looks.
saying, because I thought the domino effect had hit when she initially said, stay in the game.
Yeah, okay, and I get that.
That right there was the first domino that knocked all the 100,000
Yeah.
Well, we
dominoes.
can-
That was cause and effect. That
Several
definitely
things.
pushed him out the door. But
Well,
his errors too
Oh, he's got.
solidified.
Oh, great.
some things.
Definitely.
Yeah. And even once Tasha, later on in the episode, Tasha and Ghost are at the penthouse and they're having this conversation again. Like, Tasha has really turned into a person, a character on this show that I've grown to dislike. Because she used to at least be honorable in the fact that she was ride or die, that she was willing to help, even though all of this stuff had happened in their relationship, she was sacrificing for the greater good of
Right.
the situation.
Well,
But
thank
at
you.
this
Thank you,
point,
thank you.
I mean, I
Thank
would,
you, thank you.
I'll acknowledge that.
Mhm.
But Tasha has just become so treacherous, especially this season.
Demon wise. I mean, she's just.
still scorned.
She is.
I look at it that way. Now, what she did to Lakeisha, that was,
That's-
Wow.
that threw me off.
Okay.
Yeah, it did.
But all the stuff she's doing and saying and
You don't
whatever
put a-
we
Well,
do-
it's
you don't-
about it's about
Guys,
Tariq.
you
She
don't-
has to preserve the family.
I got that. But you don't put a bullet between the eyes of somebody just out of being
we don't
scorned.
put that
There's
on that.
much more to her.
No,
than that.
not
What I'm
about that
saying
with
is
Lakeisha.
the Lakeisha thing was separate from, her being scorned.
But to be able to do that in the first place is you got to be in a whole different place to be able to put a bullet between somebody's
Well,
eyes. I mean, so
She
my
was
point
thinking
being
about her
is,
son.
well,
She
but
thought that
yeah,
he should
would you
snitch.
do
okay.
anything for your child? Would you,
would you?
That's the
But
question.
my point is, nothing had been solidified to say that Keisha had done something. All she said was keep him out of your mouth. So
But she signed the
I don't-
papers.
yeah.
She's
I don't want to harp too much
Well-
on past episodes. We
Yeah.
got a lot to cover for
yes.
this one.
Yep.
But I mean, if you want to continue to talk about the Lakeisha situation.
no, I don't. I just want to say what I'm saying is that it shows that Tasha is more than just a scorned woman.
Right. Well,
That's all.
what I was going to mention in regards to Tasha specifically with this episode that kind of took me aback was that Tasha was like so dead set on pushing this Tariq narrative that the police were after him. And I'm like, well, where did you get that from? Because last we heard, Blanca and Sam
Right.
showed up and said, if you don't give us information, we'll look into Tariq a little further. So they
Right.
just kind of threatened it, but
Right.
they never said anything about finding blood on the Tariq's blood.
Yeah,
on
but
the
why
scene.
would they even call Tariq's name?
Well, they knew
Right,
that
right.
because she's a
He's a
mother, and I
suspect.
think, and
Well,
right.
Well, they knew that
So
because
that's
they
what-
weren't
there was a
actively
DNA
pursuing
match.
that.
No,
When
she
they
was trying to feel him out. She was trying to see. They didn't say Ghost had anything to do with that. She was trying to see what Ghost would say when she said, "What are you going to just turn him over and?"
Right,
you
but
know?
Ghost kind of took it somewhere. Like he ran with it, and instead of questioning her, like, "Hold up, wait, where did you get this information?" He ran with it, and so I'm like, "Well, Tasha's really pushing this narrative,
Exactly.
and the police aren't actually pursuing that right now."
Right. They,
And so I'm like,
Figure
she's
it out.
up to something.
Right.
No, I think she's
I
just trying to
think
figure it out. I think she wanted to know because why else would they all of a sudden Natty bringing up Ray Ray again? I mean, where did this? She's thinking, where did this new information come from? That's what I think. So I don't know.
I was wondering where she got that information from the jump, because this is what I was talking about with them, not the writers in power not filling us in on the details, because they just throw stuff at us but don't tell us where it came from. And so I'm like, well, are we supposed to believe this, or is this like some kind of plot on the side that Tasha got going?
It's to get you thinking.
Well.
It
Because I
definitely
know
got me
there was
thinking.
definitely a DNA match because she checked it when she took.
Right, but Tasha's
Ghost-
not privy to that.
But she's not privy to that.
correct.
That's what I said. Unless there was a conversation, behind the scenes that we didn't see.
Yeah, so
Right.
I'm like, Tasha is really going crazy with this narrative, trying to get Ghost to turn himself in. And I'm like, well, is this like a backup plan in case Silver don't work out? Like, turn yourself in for this murder too.
I still can't get over the fact that she, gave up Ghost like that.
Well, Ghost had a
About
very
Ghost
good
snitched
point.
first.
Okay, I know.
He
Okay,
did. Because if something was
But-
in there,
but
in the
let's-
daycare, then she would have been.
but
been in the
again, okay, but you guys understand how Tasha wants to protect her son. You also have to understand that Ghost wanted to protect his son as well.
But let's be
And-
real.
Well, no,
None
no.
of them should have snitched.
In the no, agreed. First
None
of
of
all,
them.
we know that's not something you do. But what I'm saying is, as Ghost finding out that Tasha has him in the game, and she, pretty much said to Ghost, "There's nothing you can do about it."
Snitches get stitches.
But
Well,
I think that
apparently-
Ghost had a good rationale, because first of all, just like Vincent said, Tariq deserves it.
No,
Yeah.
And second of all, I
Yeah.
think that Tariq is a minor. He could easily justify murdering Ray Ray, saying
Because
he
he
was
was
going
yeah.
after his sister's
Yeah.
killer, and we were backed into a room by ourselves, and it was either me or him. I had to take him out. He could easily justify that, get a slap on the wrist.
Correct.
If Ghost can push this lieutenant governor thing, he could work it all out to where Tariq can clean up his life and move on like nothing happened.
which is why, as I said, I'm not so much, a Ghost fanatic. That he was wrong. He said to his son, "Look, I can protect you. I'll take the fall." And then you turn around and want to, have him turn himself in. That's sorry. I can't protect that. I can't
see
protect
his
them.
reasoning though, because the
Oh, it made
circumstances have
sense.
changed
His
dramatically
reasoning-
since he told Tariq that he
I
wasn't
agree.
up for the lieutenant governor
I agree,
position.
but nobody was coming to arrest him.
Well, he doesn't know. Well,
We
Tasha
just,
will have him thinking that.
of course, Tasha had everybody thinking something crazy, but that's not what was happening. And I would think that Ghost had a better presence of mind to fully understand the story before you just, decide to have your son turn himself in.
Well, I don't understand why Tasha can't see by Ghost turning himself in. That brings her down too.
Well,
Everybody
Ghost said,
does.
"I'm the
he said
head.
it. He said,
I'm the head."
Yeah,
And if you
yeah.
chop this, everything else
Everything
goes.
else
And
goes.
that's why even when you said they both snitched, but he snitched first, he may have. But again, when the head goes, so does the body. And that's something that everybody had to keep in play. And it seems like they never thought about that, deeply enough. That if Ghost falls, the rest of you are gone.
Right.
It's just
But
that simple.
they also feel like, why you? Like, oh, I get cut off, just like Tommy said it. You know, like, why are you leaving me behind? Like, you just get to walk away with everything.
And he was very right to get in his face and said, I told you to get out of the business.
Yeah, he was right.
He was
right. He was like, I tried to like tell you, we got enough money. Let's get out of here. He said he wanted to stay in the game.
And you know, one of our commenters, Iman 300, mentioned, you know, Tariq said, and I quote, "You are not my father." And Tariq has told Ghost that time and time and time again this season.
Yeah,
so why should I protect you anymore? You so ungrateful. I risked my life. I didn't went and basically borrowed money time and time again, put myself in the hole.
Excellent point.
Why should I save you now?
And the dynasty.
He's making grown man decisions. So
you
got to take the grown man consequences.
Absolutely. And that's another thing. He's leaving behind a dynasty that nobody seems to want. Really? I mean, when you talk about the things that he might have been able to do, now granted, he got a little, full of himself this episode.
A little?
Okay. A lot full of himself.
He did.
Yeah, and okay. Yes, he did. And I'm not
very arrogant.
And I'm not going to, I am not going to defend that. Ghost, you were wrong. Simple as that.
Ghost was on.
Because you told everybody. You told everybody to jump off a bridge, anything. You just said, "Go to hell. I'm king now, and I don't need to be kingpin." But right now, I'm in.
But not only did he say go jump off a bridge, but he also degraded them.
Yeah,
especially Tate.
Oh, and Dre too.
And Dre, yeah.
Well, but you know what? Can anybody tell me that the two of them didn't deserve it in the beginning?
Oh, of course.
No,
but in that moment,
it still was the way he was reckless out the mouth to everybody.
Absolutely.
And I was like, yeah, I think I would have paid Ghost a visit too.
And I really wanted to hear what Tate had to say to him because he kept cutting him off, and I'm like, wait, what? Let him talk.
He said, I came here to warn you. And then he didn't let it get out.
And then he said something about Tariq. So I'm like, and you mentioned this too earlier.
I still don't know what he was. I figured when he initially said, I want to warn you, that he was talking about the Terry Silver thing because, but then he said, oh, wait, your son.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, what does he need to tell him? And we talked earlier about possibly, he found out about the information they found on Ray Ray. So I don't know, but that's a good point.
And then when Ghost and Tariq had their little chat earlier in the episode, and Tariq was saying, well, confess, and Ghost was sitting there talking about the Breeze situation. There was some speculation that maybe Tariq might have been recording the situation just to get some dirt on him.
So help me out for a moment, because when Tariq came in to the club, he seemed to acquiesce to what Ghost was talking about, turning himself in. Not the club, but that well, was he? What was that about?
No,
I may have missed something.
Well, it was the whole Breeze thing.
Yeah.
So let's step back for a second. So when you guys were talking about the conversation that he was having, and he asked him specifically about Breeze, right? I think so. Remember, Kanan, when he was up in Tariq's head, it was always about how awful your dad is, and let me prove to you why. And that's why he told him that he killed Breeze, right?
Right.
So then I think that Tariq was asking him then, it was more about the closure of what Kanan, because remember, he always wanted to believe that Kanan was all for him and that he wasn't lying to him and that, unfortunately, his dad was this or that. Well, what he said was basically confirming it because, as Tariq has always said, he was just putting himself first. He said, Breeze was in my way of my future, and I gave him one last chance. So, back to your point, at the club, when he came in, that was Ghost's last chance. That's he was giving him his last chance to come and say, you know what, I am going to be your father today. And he failed.
Right. Because he was like, keep your word. Keep your word.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He really did. And Tariq also, when he showed up to the office, to the situation with Dre, I mean, I think that conversation could have easily been heard from Tariq as he was outside in the hallway waiting around. So just like being in those type of environments and hearing that type of thing from your father, somebody you're supposed to look up to, and he's telling you he's one way when he's really another way, like that has an effect on you as a child.
That leads me to the conversation that we had offline about
the
Ghost versus James conversation. I said that he will always be Ghost. He wants to be James, but he will always be Ghost. If he became Lieutenant Governor, he would be Lieutenant Governor Ghost. That's his first inclination.
So let me get this right. So if he became lieutenant governor, he's still going to be a kingpin. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Because that's Ghost to me.
More of the reaction and how if he's pushed up against.
Exactly.
Right.
The Ghost, he's his natural inclination is what I'm saying.
That's his natural. That's his natural inclination in rage for that.
Right.
That rage.
That's who
but that's not so much Ghost. That's just
that's who he is.
Well,
that's who he
Let
is.
me tell you
But
something.
that's exactly right.
No, there's a lot of people that sell drugs and a kingpin, but this dude, Ghost, is ruthless.
Yes,
right.
And even when
I'm saying
spirit
whether he was whether you call him Ghost or Muhammad, I think he would still be the same thing. It's just that that's a character flaw for Ghost.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's arguing in favor of Ghost.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
but Ghost said that though when he
It's
was
a character
talking with
flaw.
Canaan, when Canaan's spirit or whatever came up and appeared to him, Canaan said, "Look at you, you're no different than me."
Exactly.
He isn't.
But James seems to think that
I can separate it,
Yeah,
right?
I can separate the two. And he was like, "You deserve the needle and the
Exactly.
handcuffs." He said,
Exactly.
"No, Ghost deserves that."
Right,
But he
not
doesn't seem that James deserves
Right.
that.
Lieutenant Governor Ghost was in a shootout in this episode. So he was in a shootout.
He was
Every time that there's a problem that needs to be fixed.
Tiffany.
And so needs to get rid of people. What's his first instinct? His first instinct is either to kill them or pay them off.
Man
he just choked out his soon-to-be ex-wife last week. She has bruises on her arm. He rammed her against the refrigerator. He is Ghost. He is James to the world. He's putting out James as the perception, the illusion and stuff, but he will always be Ghost. That is his first instinct, his inclination. Yeah. If he goes to Albany, Lieutenant Governor Ghost.
But I recall correct me if I'm wrong. I recall at a point sometime during that episode that we were discussing, you kind of agreed that he might have had a reason to do what he did to Tasha.
To Tasha. Yeah.
Because of her mouth.
Yeah,
I didn't agree to that. I said, now,
did.
No,
Okay.
I said,
I know one of
he
you.
had every reason to step to Tasha the way he did. Like, I agree with everything he said to Tasha last week.
Mm-hmm.
Up until he put his hands on her.
I don't know. I think Tasha needed a little smack up because sometimes words are not effective.
I know.
See?
No, I hear that, but I was like, with a man and a woman.
She pushed him.
Did.
But we do have to reflect back on there should be no reason a man should put his hands on a woman. We're not talking about a regular man.
Right.
Nor are we talking about a regular woman.
Right. That's why I say sometimes
because theoretically
words
Tasha could have taken him out too. You know. We're not talking.
A man who is a killer, who is Ghost, and Tasha is like 5'1", 5 feet. I mean, she's a woman and she's a
little fireball.
She
Tasha
is,
could
but
take
she's still
out.
a woman.
If Ghost turns his back, Tasha could take him out with no problem.
Yeah, I
With a
agree.
gun.
I agree. Now, how about this whole Dre situation? Because obviously Ghost set him up again. I don't know how Dre keep falling for his traps, but Dre goes to jail this time, and he's able to call Blanca up and get him out of jail. Now, how unrealistic is this?
Oh, it starts with Blanca. I mean, let's table Trey for a moment and let's get to Miss Upright, do everything by the book, Blanca, and then all of a sudden you get, you reconnect with Sax, and Sax just turns your mind into the better.
I call it the Saxitis.
The Saxitis.
Y'all listen. When I was on the show before, what I say, he get the hands, right?
Yeah.
Because it's every person that comes in contact with him, they.
It's a disease.
It's like, and it's crazy, and I never would have thought that Blanca was gonna.
I wouldn't have either.
Thing.
Yeah, that was.
It was stupid. She got obsessed too. She got sucked into
his thinking,
Sax
his way of
vortex.
thinking.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how right was I when I predicted that
She was
Sax's whole plan was going to backfire? I wasn't sure how it was going to go down, but I knew that was going to backfire with that whole cell phone and planting the evidence. Aren't you?
Me too.
I'm happy.
Me
Well,
too.
and I was really engaged with Warner because he was hitting all the points. And then to see him go down with the Saxitis too.
First of all, when Sax rolled up in the office unauthorized, his badge was supposed to have been revoked, and he rolled up in there hanging up phone calls on Warner.
I know.
I'm like, oh, you got some balls
Yeah,
here.
Well, because he's crazy.
Exactly. And everybody is sucking into this craziness with him.
Yeah.
Warner told him exactly right. You know, you actually want me to believe that this man who has run a multi-million-dollar business, you know, and has made it to where he has in his standings, that he would be dumb enough.
Right.
For one thing, and I've often said, what would he need with the phone to begin with? Why would you take it? I mean, if this you want me to believe this, why would he take the phone in the first place? He didn't need it.
Yep, I agree. And I think that Warner called that out. Even the judge called it out. He was like, well, this is not going to hold up.
Yeah, and Blanca should have known that.
She should have, but she went down
the moment Blanca was in
facts.
right, the moment she was in there, and she had to kind of had an epiphany because, you know, it just started to add up, and then she realized that the way it happened, Sachs stole the phone out of the car and had it planted in the...
And let's talk about how she got the phone, because it was supposed to be a sneak and peek warrant where you just go and look and you don't take anything.
Right.
So that already kind of negates that evidence right there.
A grab and snatch. It turned from a sneak and peek to a grab and snatch.
So that evidence should automatically be omitted.
Oh, well, if you can...
Well, the judge didn't even accept it. He was just
right.
like...
He shut him all the way down.
A good lawyer would, you know, the case is shot to hell. I mean, everything they did was wrong. You know, you got someone who is no longer an FBI agent actually going into a sneak and peek. That's wrong. It just...
Well, Tamika kind of put the battery in their back, like, oh, instead of pursuing Sachs, you can get the lieutenant governor and all, like, just she trying to just like make the situation seem very, you know, overly, like she overly pushed it on them, like it was gonna be a done deal.
Well, because it's gonna make Warner look bad. If he takes Sachs down, then it's gonna make him look bad. I mean,
well, given that
Warner, he booted Tamika.
But and that's what I didn't understand. But see, Tamika, I thought would have wanted Warner, you know, not trying to save his ass, because that's basically what she was doing. She was like, okay, you might as well stay on this road trying to get go.
That's a setup?
Yeah, either a setup or plus she still Sachs is her client.
Yeah,
it can't be so much a setup, because you're right, Sachs is her client.
No,
and
a setup to make Warner fail. Right.
Well, no.
Remember, he took her job.
Yes, and that's
he was snide about it.
Which is exactly why, instead of giving him that out of let's just proceed down this line, because after all, the headlines read better. You catching.
That's getting her client off. The king.
But that's my point. For her to even take Sachs, because to protect Sachs, you're also protecting Warner.
To an extent, I mean, but what I'm saying is all Warner had to do was say, okay, we dropping it with Sachs. He didn't have to still go after Ghost. That was he something.
Well, he bought the Kool-Aid. I mean, you know, because of the fact that the headlines. That's my point,
like,
and
it's so easy to flip you, and you sitting up here bashing
Tamika,
Blanca for doing that, and you just did it.
But everybody has aspirations of becoming something other than what they are. So you know.
But at what expense? That's the thing.
Obviously, any expense will do, because, you know, that's jail time.
Well, Sachs is feeling the burn now.
Well, I mean, she's somewhat vindicated him in a sense, because now she's got, look, Tamika was brilliant enough to have everybody involved now. So everybody's going with the Saxitis.
Well, after the judge shut it down and Sachs is now being arrested, it's not looking good for him. And so he allowed his ambition to get Ghost to tear his whole life down.
And we know if Sachs goes to jail, they're all going, because I'm sure he's going to turn on everybody, you know.
But who will believe him?
Nobody
even believed that Tommy and Ghost came in and, you know,
his
apartment, right?
Yeah, well, I think he can make a case out of it, at least now that he has Tamika. Well, if he goes down, the whole lot's going down. Blanca's going to go down. Warner's going to go down. The whole lot's going to go down.
Yeah, there was a
second. And Tamika will make sure that happens.
There was a second when he had that gun. At first I thought he was going to shoot himself, but then I thought maybe he's going to go up to that department and shoot everybody up. I was like, it wouldn't be out of his character. But back to the whole Dre conversation, because that's how we got here. He ended up calling Blanca for help. And her suggestion was, if you can give me useful information, I can get you a deal. So that instead of life, you get 10 years.
She's a quick study.
So it went from life to 10 years to all of a sudden being back out on the street.
the same.
Well, she
Now,
said,
how does that happen?
well, yeah, because is that,
I mean, unless
was he able to post bail?
well, that's
or
what I'm thinking, that maybe it was either bail or their own recognizance. I don't know, but the bottom line is, wait a minute. First of all, let's take a step back. Like, seriously, I'm gonna do 10 years for a murder that I didn't. Like, he's thinking in his head, I've killed a lot of people. I've sold a lot of drugs.
Oh, well, the
I mean,
problem is the footage that was turned in.
No, I mean, I get that part, but let me take myself back, because he did say that people in here are trying to kill me or want to kill me.
Yep.
Right.
So
he,
you would do anything
I
to just
don't-
get out of
Absolutely.
the
That's
situation.
Dre's MO.
I mean-
that's been his MO. He's a survivor. He'll do anything.
I mean, he had nothing to lose.
Right. Well, let's ask some of the viewers. What do you guys think? Do you think that Dre should have taken the deal, or do you think he should have just shut his mouth? But at the same token, then he might have gotten killed that night even.
I think, well, we know that Ghost set up the situation with Vincent to get the burner phone in, and then he calls up 2-Bit and Spank, which how the heck did they get into the same cell? In what world did that happen?
They were visiting one another.
That's
Right.
right. In what world did they get the same cell?
Yeah, that's
but
crazy.
I digress. Okay. Ghost calls up 2-Bit to say, I need you to do me a favor, and it's one of, revenge. You can get your revenge on Drake, because a lot of people were speculating who they were getting this revenge on. But when Ghost called, and he was like, "You still got my watch?" I thought that was funny. That was hilarious. But then he goes on to say, 2-Bit is like, "You got some nerve calling me after what your boy did," and Ghost says, "It wasn't him. It was your day one."
Right.
And that's how he knew it was Dre. And he was like, "But I can offer you this scheme to get some revenge." And so that's how Dre, he knows, if I'm in jail, I'm going down.
He wouldn't have lasted 24 hours.
So he has very good reason to be afraid.
No, I agree. I mean,
just take the 10 years.
Yeah.
Although 10 years.
He had to get out of jail.
I'm just trying to figure out how Blanca got him out the same day. What did she say to them?
Well,
to get him
again,
out on the
that's
street?
that unrealism.
You know
that,
what? I just thought about something. So she gets him out, right? And originally, I'm fast forwarding just a little bit, but originally when Dre came to Ghost and asked for the money, because he said, "I got to get out of town," I was thinking, no, he's not going nowhere. He's just going to set up shop and try to sell drugs. But now I'm like, well, wait a minute. Maybe he is trying to skip town so he doesn't have to face the
he
possible
wanted
10
to,
years.
right. He wanted to leave town with his daughter and, try to clean himself up a bit or take some heat down. But,
the funny thing too is that they've already caught Dre trying to skip town when he was an informant. So why would you let him out again so that he can skip town?
Which is another reason that was just so unrealistic, because of the fact that you don't let a known drug dealer, and everything else he's done, murderer, out on his own recognizance, because the first thing you know, he's going to take flight. So the whole thing was just kind of messed up.
My other issue with that was, sorry to cut. Did you? No problem. Okay. The judge, he said that if they wanted to pursue Ghost, they would need somebody who is either not a known accomplice or a known enemy. Right. Dre is both of those. So I'm trying to figure out how Blanca even wants that situation with him testifying to work. Because everybody knows that they are at odds.
They were just so desperate to get something in front of that judge, because Tamika said it had to be a smoking gun.
But that's not it, though.
That's not it.
But the judge fell for it, because she had the warrant when she at the end when she was going up to the club.
I don't know. I just was like,
again,
this is too much going on with not enough explanation.
But she went to everybody and said that it didn't work, that it was shut down.
So maybe we thought it was a warrant. What was that piece of paper?
No, that was a
warrant. Yeah, it was a warrant, but she went to everybody else and told them that.
But no, was that before?
That was before she went to. She went to.
No, before she talked to Dre.
Yeah, she talked to Dre. She told everybody it was a rap. Then she talked to Dre. And then she
had
another
right.
Yeah, so I don't know where that came from. But I wanted to talk about the Tommy situation, because Tommy is usually like a big part of the episodes, but he had only a small cameo this week. And it was kind of to confront Ghost on the rooftop. Well, he first of all showed up at the governor's announcement, where he was kind of like on the sideline peeping it out. And then later on, when they were on the roof, and he's kind of like, well, you get everything and I get nothing.
Remember, Courtney said, and she said that it was from Ghost's perspective. So that point being is that we were more or less engaged with everything that's in Ghost's head, not necessarily writers being there to write a little bit about Tommy, a little bit about
Right, and I get that, but I'm just not used to seeing Tommy have such a small role,
right.
And that was just something I noticed.
And then we had the conversation offline about the recording. That whole conversation with Tommy and Ghost about the recording, and I'm like, wait a minute. Did something happen? How does he know? How does he know that they have the record? I mean, like, where did they? Yeah, I just was like, okay. Yeah, we're not privy to some information
because
here.
Initially,
did they find
there's two separate recordings. First of all, there's the one where Ghost admits to Ruiz that he killed Lobos. Mm-hmm. So that's one record, and that's the one that Tommy is talking about. And we're like, hold up, well, last time we heard Proctor was the only one that had this recording, and I thought it was something between he and Ghost. I'm like, well, how did Tommy find out about this? Then the second issue
Look at your face.
was the Bailey Markham situation where Proctor had that on his hard drive, and that's the reason why Tommy was trying to make sure he didn't testify against him. Mm-hmm. So it was just like some loopholes in the story where I'm like, well, how does Tommy know this? Because last time we checked, he wasn't aware. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing was the idea that Tommy would be upset at Ghost because of the shooter situation. So as they're talking, somebody starts shooting at them both.
That was real suspect.
Yeah.
That whole thing was extremely suspect, all the way down to the guy that was on the floor. I'm still trying to. Does anybody know who that guy was on the floor that got shot? We're trying to figure it out. He looks like an older guy, but we have no idea.
No, we don't. I don't.
Who that was?
Yeah, I don't know if it really even matters, but the whole shootout was kind of suspect if you ask me. It was, you don't run into a warehouse when you know that's where fire is coming from. And Tommy just ran in there like he had on a vest.
Yeah.
Or he knew the people.
Yeah, but you can't know where they,
No, I'm saying, was it Tommy's setup?
Well, Tommy said he didn't set up. He's like, all my guys are in jail. And
which
then
they
Ghost
are.
is like, they are all in jail.
Right.
But then Ghost kind of says, why are you looking at me like I set it up? I'm just as shocked as you are.
Tommy had a chance to kill Ghost.
He did. Right? And if he really wanted to do it, he could have
done. But after all this happened, all the little shootout, whatever, he disappears, and then he's one of the people cocking his gun as if he's headed to. But wait a minute, what if he's not headed to Ghost? Maybe he was headed to somebody else.
I was wondering about that.
Well, don't forget the perspective of the individual that was in the car that we don't know.
There's somebody that's been following
Somebody's been following Ghost,
and
we don't know. Right. So
it was
a Lincoln, older model Lincoln.
Like a red or
Mark.
orange interior.
That's a Lincoln Mark IV, I think, a Mark something.
Yeah, and I don't think that's not Tommy.
No, it's not Tommy. It's too old a vehicle, and Tommy wouldn't be caught in that. Tommy likes muscle cars.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't have been his car.
My other issue with that whole Tommy and Ghost exchange was last week. Tommy was over at Tasha's house saying, "Ghost gotta die. I'm just telling you now." This week, all of a sudden,
but he's like Tasha. She says, "I hate you," but she loves you. It's the same thing with that relationship. He could say, "Oh, you know how many times Ghost should have got it."
Well,
Tommy don't take no crap from nobody.
That's true.
But he loves him.
And he said too. He said when he was just like, "I thought I had more than a friend. I thought I had a brother." He said, "I am your brother, but this is the game."
Yeah. But I was just wondering what made him come to this sudden epiphany that Ghost didn't kill Keisha.
I don't understand.
I'm like, well, last week you was ready to ride and go and shoot him up. And
I think the whole time he knew, or not so much knew, but I think he pretty much had a handle on the fact that Ghost didn't do it. But it's this Ghost Tommy thing, and he can't get his head around the fact that And to be honest, it's just like, brothers, that one's jealous of the other. When you see him growing and growing and growing and you're not going anywhere, you're losing everything. He's gaining everything. And so you want to blame him for everything that happens. And I think that's what you see with Tommy. Tommy just wants to blame Ghost with everything.
And Ghost said that.
Well, yeah, he did.
You need me.
Even be mad.
Right.
Yeah. Even the hate.
Even the hate.
You need
Right.
me.
Exactly.
But I go back to Tommy's still my baby. I'm sorry.
Me too.
I'm still Team Tommy. That's what they
love
said.
Okay.
But
he's irrational.
He's irrational, but it goes back to he never catches a break. So he never catches a break in love. And now everybody, like when he showed up at the announcement, you could just see it on his face like, damn, this, you know, he's getting something else, and here I am. And then he says it verbally to Ghost when they're, you know, having their encounter. And it's just like, oh, you just gonna leave me and you get everything and I get nothing? It's like, poor baby.
Yeah.
You know?
Casey said, hey, Casey. She said he knew it was Tasha, same way Tariq picked up on it. I don't know if he knows it was Tasha, because I think it would be a wrap for her if he knew.
Yeah. We'll see in January.
He might be cocking that gun for her.
That's true.
Well, you know
Everybody
what?
was walking with a purpose.
You know,
Everybody
look.
was like, especially Paz was like.
Look, let's put it this way. He can put two and two together. If he knows, if it wasn't Ghost, if he's saying it wasn't Ghost, it's only maybe one more person that actually knew or could have known where Keisha was, and that would be Tasha.
You mean where they live?
Yeah.
Well,
Remember, no one knew.
Well, Tasha,
supposedly,
they said that
except
Keisha had been running her mouth
Right,
in the shop.
exactly.
So
So a lot of
people
people
could-
actually knew where she lived.
But it's not like she
Two
ran her
bits
mouth and said.
Keisha, too.
But it's not like she says I live at.
Two bits had he
Yeah, but
put his hands on her.
But it's not like I live at 738 Blue Haven Road. Everybody come see me. You know,
Right.
she didn't do that. She might have ran her
But a
mouth
lot
and
of
said,
people showed up there though. Sack showed up there.
Everybody rolled up
Yeah,
to the house. Yeah, they did.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Yeah. So
but that's
they didn't
another
do a good
story
job
though.
of
That's
keeping
yeah,
that
that's another
discreet.
story. Maybe we ought to do a show on the mishaps of some of the events that took place in this show that we can't figure out. You know, maybe just make a list and have the viewers see if they can make any kind of sense out of some of the things that we're talking about that we can't seem to make heads or tails out of.
Yeah, and now that we start talking about, you know, the people that we saw, and I didn't really think about it until we still started having the discussion that those people that we were seeing walking and angry, who knows who they were really after?
Because the only three people that we actually seen in front of Truth were Blanca, Sax, and Paz.
And we know Blanca was not out to kill
Right.
anybody.
And I don't think Sax, he was already drunk and stumbling. I don't think he would have had the precision to kill Ghost in
Right
that
in the
state.
heart. It looked like a heart shot.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was
Around the area.
Yeah, just off because Hart's more centered. So but the thing is, you know, I think you said that it was a short fall.
I didn't think the fall was that far. I think he could have survived the impact.
And I didn't think it was Tommy because Tommy takes headshots. He was like, I don't think he's shooting anybody in the chest.
Yeah,
Maria got it to the head. That's how Tommy rolls.
But
He's a good, yeah.
but whoever it was had to have already been there, because he's on the second floor or whatever. He's up on the balcony, and the fact that he was falling back once he got shot, meaning that he turned around and someone fired at him. How did they get up there? I doubt very seriously if there's an entryway on the second level. I don't know. They never showed anything like that. But I would think that whoever it was had to have been in there already.
I don't agree. I think that there was some time lapse in between. Because you got people, think about it, you have people coming from, like Dre was in his car, right? Even Blanca that showed up and heard the shot, she was still in her car and getting out of, so there was some lapse in time that we didn't necessarily see.
I can say that, but everybody was kind of getting to the truth. I don't know whether they were close by, whether one closer than the other, but they seem like to have all been, converging on truth right around the same time. And the only person that we can't put our finger on is the individual that was in the car.
Right.
And they made it known that they wanted to keep him from hidden.
Yeah.
So why not be
Who
him?
was that person?
Well,
Yeah.
my problem with it was that in the after show, Courtney kind of said, there's no gotcha moment. Like the suspects that we have lined up, that it's one of them. And I'm like,
I can't buy that.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I can't buy that.
Because why show the
Because-
person
exactly.
in the
Right, why have
hidden
that-
person?
Exactly. Come on. That really makes no sense.
It
I'm
doesn't.
sorry. If that's your story, then what the hell was he doing? And who was he?
Right, and who?
Oh, I know who he might have been.
I said,
Tasha's a little
I
fun.
think I said I
That's
think
what we
I think
talked
it's
about.
cute.
Q.
Yeah, I
Yes.
was like, Q is somebody. He a Fed or he's related to Breeze.
I don't
I
think
think
he
he
needs to be somebody. I think he just needs to be in love or want Tasha that bad. Because remember, when he
Maybe
saw her
it was
Tasha
Q
when
that
he
killed
saw the
him.
bruise,
I
right,
wouldn't-
that's what we're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I wouldn't
So
put it
he
past
saw the
him
bruise and was like, you know,
Oh,
and
I'ma
then she
do
was like,
something.
oh no, I can handle it. He was like,
because he's been anxious to do something about
anyway.
it.
Yeah.
And then when he saw the bruise, that was it.
Yeah, listen, I think he connected somehow. He may be avenging Tasha, but I think he knows he's cool with somebody that Ghost used to be affiliated
And you
with.
think that's
Maybe
why he
Breeze.
pinpointed Tasha? You think?
And you know,
I think
initially
he
I was
targeted Tasha.
thinking Tariq because he's the most logical choice. But I'm like, the writers can't be that predictable.
That's.
But it makes sense in the frame because you know Tariq had already had that conversation with him about Breeze and about Ghost, you know, Breeze being in the way and Ghost taking him out. And so I was like, well, the likely scenario is that Tariq would see Ghost as the same threat to his.
I still don't buy.
doing what he wants
I
to
still
do.
don't buy Tariq being that angry that he would shoot his own dad. I'm just.
I think
I mean,
Tariq
I know
is
he's angry. I know
Long
he's.
gone.
He's long gone.
Yeah,
And
but
I
I
think
just
that
don't-
there's nothing Ghost can do to get him back, and especially after Ghost told Kanan's spirit or whatever, he said, "I got my son back,"
He was like,
and I'm like, you think
That's
you got
what I
your son back?
yeah, even Kanan was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, you go ahead and think that if you want.
And then on the pause situation, you know, she had already confronted James about telling her who his real killer was, and
Yeah.
so even when she spoke with Blanca, we could see that she still hadn't let that situation go.
No.
Yeah, and it's kind of wearing on me too. Look, I get it. You're upset. You're grieving, but I'm just not. I'm not with it.
You're not with what? Her still wanting to know?
To
or
kill.
justice?
She wants to kill someone
She
that.
wants justice.
She wants
But that's
justice.
not
There you
justice.
go.
But
And
that's
she-
not
and she-
justice.
In her mind, the law won't give her justice.
Okay, but
so
days-
she's taking it into
But
her
but
own
as
hands.
days go by and you realize now, of course, she should know by now after speaking with Ghost, particularly in the club, she knows that he didn't do it. She knows that.
But she
And
thinks
she
she
also
knows
knows-
who did it, and he
But
won't tell her.
but knowing who did it, I don't think is enough to constitute death. I
do.
just don't.
Because think about it, all this time, and she has actually said this to Angela when she was alive, and to go several times. If it hadn't been for you, though.
Exactly.
So sometimes
I
you
got
don't
that.
have to kill the person who pulled the trigger. Sometimes you need to kill the person who put her in that situation.
So
Right.
so what's more valuable to her? Ghost being dead or trying to determine who killed her sister? And to me, it seemed like it was more important for her to find out who killed her sister. If you kill Ghost, you definitely will never know.
Yeah,
You
I
think-
don't think
you
she
think
was
she's
going there to
rational?
kill him. Maybe she was going there to threaten him with the gun. Like, if you don't tell me.
That's possible. I see that more than she
But I don't
actually
think she
seeking.
was the killer.
No, but to even
Well,
I
we're using the word killer. Is he dead?
Well, the shooter. Yeah,
Is
that's
he
the
dead?
big
Is
question.
he dead?
Is he
Is
dead?
he dead?
And you
'Cause
know,
the
oh,
hanger, right,
was-
says who shot, not who killed.
That's
Ghost.
that's a good point. Verbiage matters. Okay.
It does matter,
Okay.
but you know, we got the bait and switch with Angela. Angela was still alive at the end of season 5.
And this is why
and
I
in the
hate
first
that they
episode,
redid this.
Angela died.
Mhm.
So it's a possibility. You know, I had always said my prediction for this show is that I felt that in the end, Ghost was going to get just close enough to reach
Touch
his
his
dreams,
goals.
and then it was going to be snatched from him, and he was going to die. And that's what I always thought for him, because I thought there's only two ways out of this game:
Mhm.
the bang or death.
Yep.
And I thought death for him,
Mhm.
and probably the bang for Tommy.
And I can still see that happening.
Mhm.
But I don't want to see the last 5 episodes with no Ghost. I'm sorry.
I know. I
yeah,
think that would
that's
be.
gonna be.
I don't think you are. I think he's gonna be on some kind of life support.
I want to see a
Or-
live Ghost that is actually running the show and living up to all of his potential. Like, I don't want to see him in the hospital bed,
We'll see.
clinging for life.
We'll see. I know I was reading to y'all earlier. I looked at Omari's IG page. I follow him, and I was like, he was thanking everyone, and he's always thanking the cast and the crew and stuff. He's very humble like that. However, it sounded so much to me like a swan song. I was like,
it was a eulogy.
yeah, it did. I was like,
It was very long-winded.
It was very long. I was
he-
like,
that was a final goodbye.
He was burying ghosts, and
That's what it
that's
sounded like to
exactly
me.
what it sounds like. Exactly.
Well, a lot of our our viewers, they think that he's dead.
I think he's dead too, y'all.
And they're saying, yep, somebody else just mentioned his Instagram post. Yep, and they're saying they got to move on from Ghost in order to do the Power Book too.
And that
So,
is
I
true.
mean, that's a good point.
That is true. And besides, we
I'm
talked.
not saying I don't think he is going to die. I just think these
Right now,
last
she
five
doesn't think
episodes-
he's
No, and I think,
Right.
and as you said, I think one of you said earlier that I think Blanca will reach him first and find him, near dead on the floor. Probably, he'll live long enough to say a few things and he's out. Because as we were talking earlier, I think Omari wants to get out of this role. He's already somewhat typecast. Because if I see him in anything else, my first thought is Ghost. He's always going to be Ghost to me.
Somebody said, somebody better put Ron on suicide watch because his hero is dead. Who was that? That was Zandra Terry.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you.
Sandra,
That's true.
you and I are
She's
going
been caping for Ghosts
Sandra,
like Terry Silver
Sandra,
and Proctor. I
first
was
of all,
like,
hold up.
He should get his JD. The way
hold
he
up,
been
hold up.
riding for
First of
Ghosts.
all, Sandra, I'm going to give you props for that because that's funny as hell. But you and I are going to talk. We're going to talk later on. Oh, man. I don't need suicide watch. I'm going to tell you that now. I'm straight. I'm good.
But there's going to be another Ghost. I mean, when he's gone, there's going to be another one.
Somebody
Will
always
you
steps
pick
up?
up on the new Ghost?
That depends. if he's, if he's a gentleman and a scholar, I'll take that,
Gentleman and a scholar.
Yeah.
Well, Ghost was intelligent, and
Nobody denied that.
I'm not saying you denied it. I'm just making some obvious points. He was very intelligent. Aside from the fact he was a killer, and aside from the fact that I need to be on suicide watch because I'm talking about him.
And Tiffany made a really good point too about the last 5 episodes that maybe they'll pull like a How to Get Away with Murder kind of thing where they start with the death and then replay it back leading up to what happened.
How to Get Away with Murder, if you guys watch that, is really good about that. Like showing what happened and then they retrace the steps and everything. So I'm wondering if they're going to do something like that.
Now that would make it a little more interesting.
That would?
But I don't know if they're going to do it like that.
I don't know either.
And I don't know. Courtney mentioned that she kind of locked herself in her house and she wrote this episode by herself. And I don't know if that was a good idea. Maybe you needed some more input.
Well, I don't know because actually, I watched it with my husband as we normally do. And he was saying, it's ironic you say that because he was saying, I can tell this had Courtney written all over it because if you think about it, like think about some of the stuff that Ghost said in this episode. It was real like cutthroat. Like it was like butcher knife type, And he was like, that's Courtney's writing.
Yeah.
That's funny that he can tell that.
He's spot on. Yeah, because she said in her interview following the show, is that he's saying all the things that he's wanted to say for a long time.
And I can understand that. I mean,
could too. He just was reckless with it.
And he felt that he was actually out. He thought, hey, I'm out of the game. I made it. He said it. I made it. I did it. He said that at Raina's grave. I did it. I was able to, to get out of here. So I can understand his, his desire and his thought behind saying the things he said. But you're still dealing with a bunch of killers.
But he'll never, no matter what he does, to Tiffany's point, he will never lose the ghost in him. And think about it. It was the ghost in him that pissed all those people off to that point. Now, he had some enemies. But all the stuff he said, the nasty, like just degrading, that was Ghost. That was not James.
Right. That was not James or Jamie.
Or Jamie, right?
Yeah.
But that was strictly Ghost. And if you think about his character, first of all, the typecasting for this was just awesome because he looks both parts. Like when he's playing Ghost,
he's Ghost.
He's straight Ghost, thugging it out, everything. But then when he's When he did that announcement, Lieutenant, come on now, he was so poised.
Yeah, he was.
But that's my point.
That's why
Which is
Articulate
exactly why I said he more than anyone else I've ever seen play a role like that is both. He is Ghost, he is Jamie or James. I don't see either one of his characters taking over the other. They complement one another.
Primal instinct.
But
So,
he's got to get
well,
rid of Ghost
right.
completely if he's
Right.
going to be successful in this new life.
Okay, but what
He
does
can't
the
do
okay?
that.
But to get rid of Ghost means what exactly?
well, if something goes wrong, you can't kill them.
We
You can't kill
we
them.
don't know.
And that,
First
and
of all,
that's the first thing.
first of
That's
all,
his fallback.
He tried to change it.
but
He
you-
really did.
yes, he
went
did.
there. He went
And now
he
that's
did.
an assumption that you're making because he's not out yet. So we can't say what he would do once
He's already proven
He's
himself
already
in
proven
this
it.
episode.
he's not out yet.
What do you
He's
mean
not.
not out?
He's
He
not.
said he was.
He's not lieutenant governor yet. He's not sitting in
You
that
think
seat.
that's going to
They
change?
just
Yes, I do.
recognized-
Yes, I do.
He's already talking about doing stuff for Vincent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They need to be looking at terrorism instead of. Come
Yes,
on now.
that's
Warner even alluded. I think it was Warner. Yeah, I think Warner even alluded to the fact that. Tell me, you got these councilmen and mayors and senators and I mean, come on, you don't think? Look
Are they
at
in
what
shootouts?
we don't know.
Are they on shootouts?
Hey, look,
Because he was in a full-on shootout. in this episode.
we got somebody in the
So,
White
He's
House.
breaking into
We got
sex houses.
guys.
I know.
Come on
I
now,
mean-
we got somebody in the White House that said if he does what, he wouldn't go to jail.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
But has
really?
he done it? Was he on the rooftop?
We don't know.
Tommy?
You know what? I don't know. And I don't know whether he will or not. I don't know.
Okay.
But I can tell you right now, some of the things, look, don't even get me started on that
I
role.
know.
Okay?
I'm with you.
Don't
But
get
I'm
me
just
started on that
saying,
role.
Like, Ghost is, he's in shootouts.
Ugh.
Killed Jason in the elevator last week.
Right.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
put his hands on his wife. I
God.
mean, Ghost is the primal
He can't
instinct.
help it.
He can't help it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So he did all that,
This is
but
this
he-
is part of him,
and you-
that's what
and you
I'm
don't
just
think
saying.
that-
Animal in him.
It's the animal instinct in him. It's
Yeah.
his go-to. When
I
things
did
get-
say that
Violence is his
I
go-to.
did say that is his character. That is neither Ghost. I mean, that is
That's
both.
Ghost's
That is
character.
both Ghost and James. That's something that's innate in James.
No, that's
and,
what
and,
that's
and
what
Ghost.
we're
That's
trying
what
to
we're
say.
saying.
But you keep
can't
saying
suppress it.
no, you can't. But that's not a Ghost thing. That's not
That
a.
is a ghost thing.
It's not just a Ghost thing. It is Ghost. It is Ghost and James.
No, James
That
is
is
a businessman.
yeah, but James the businessman hasn't been tested that way yet. So we don't know. And this is what you were saying a moment ago.
No. What are you talking about? Just
James
because he's
hasn't
not-
been
just
tested.
because he's not lieutenant, he's supposedly a businessman already.
Well,
He's been a
that's
businessman for 6 seasons.
okay. My point then being, and you're making my point because what I'm saying is that is just the man. That is who he is. He has a violent
You're
temper.
making our point.
No,
That's
you're
who he
calling
is.
him Ghost. I'm saying
He
he's
is
both. I'm saying that what you find in that is both James and Ghost, not just a Ghost.
James
Ghost.
James is who he puts out to the public.
Ghost
but he
is the
Ghost
one who
through
can
and
do
through.
the. Ghost is the one who can do what he does, be a kingpin, and not be recognized as that in the outside world. That's who Ghost is.
Ghost is who strangled
right.
Jason in
Oh,
the
God.
elevator. Ghost is who paid the guy to say you've never seen me and set Dre up. Ghost is who set Dre up this episode. Ghost is who put his hands on Tasha. I mean, Ghost
And
has
he's
done
been
all.
trying to
Jamie
do
put
better. Like the
No,
witness,
not Jamie.
he gave her money instead of killing
He
her.
Of
has
course,
tried to
that's
do
my
that.
point.
And I thought he wanted to kill Derek, but then Derek came to his
Yeah,
senses
yeah.
and he was able to.
But at least
talk
he
him out of
tried,
it.
and
Yeah, he
that's the
tried.
business.
But his first inclination.
We don't know
when-
what
even when
you
he
can't
fir-
say that.
When he
You don't.
first
You don't know.
approached Derek, he looked around to see who was looking and everything. Because I think had that conversation gone another way,
Okay, let me
Derek
ask
would've
you:
been out of
who
there.
showed up? Was it Ghost or was it James?
Showed up when.
Ghost is always
With,
present.
Derek.
Is what I'm saying. He
Of
showed
course,
up. He showed up as James.
Tip-
But if Derek had said the wrong thing,
Tiffany?
Ghost would have killed Derek.
All I'm simply saying it's a dual personality. That's all. So yes, when Ghost shows up, James is there. When James shows up, Ghost is there. And you cannot.
Right.
But
He's
that's
Ghost. He's Ghost. He will always
He's
be
either
Ghost.
Ghost or James, and
It's-
he tries to suppress Ghost, but he can't. That's all we're saying.
Right.
You're saying what you are saying that they both are present at all the time, right?
Yes.
And what we are saying is that when he decided to come back to the, and decide to go legit, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm putting all that behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And he even told Tommy, like, you can continue to be this beast, right? Because they were both beasts, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can continue to be this beast. I'm changing.
Correct.
And he proved it by taking small actions, not killing certain people or not making these kind of decisions.
Right.
But when he's pushed in the right way,
Yeah.
that right button,
Yep.
Yeah.
And especially
beast
when his
comes out.
back is against the wall.
But what-
that's it.
That's
But
his first
but
inclination.
what would you have him do otherwise?
oh, we're not saying that.
But
Just-
that's all my point. My point is my simple point is he wants to be James, and if people let him let him alone.
Wait a minute.
People-
You guys,
So it's their
you
fault.
guys-
That's it.
It's their fault.
Wait a minute. You guys decide for us. Tell
God.
us, do you think that James
Where's
and
King Reed?
Ghost
Where's Reed? Reed, are you out
separate
there?
and
Help me
that
out.
When they are in a situation or scenario, for example, if James is in, say, a business deal, that Ghost is still present. Or do you think Ghost is only the angry girl? Well,
No.
I think we should move on.
Okay.
Okay.
They said the Ghost versus James is too much. There's more to talk about.
I agree.
Okay, y'all.
Okay.
I mean, we've covered a lot already, but I mean, in the scenario of like predictions and what you think might happen.
Before we go to predictions, can we talk about the Ghost and Ramona thing? Like, what do
Oh,
y'all
of
think?
course.
What do y'all think
Of course.
about them as a couple?
I think it's awkward. I think it seems forced.
I don't know about their chemistry.
Because I think Ramona has an earnest interest in him, but I don't know. I think Ghost is kind of like, well, I just kind of see what she can offer me, what her status can bring me as us being this power couple. Where it's kind of like he's stuck in the image of it and not actually the real feeling behind it.
She wants to be in the lieutenant governor's house.
Yeah. Well,
We know what she wants, yeah.
Right. And she wants him too. She's always wanted him, but I think that she.
Do you think that's infatuation, or do you think it's actual? On Ramona.
She doesn't
No,
know.
I think she's open.
I think she's open too.
Open
The
for
way
him.
she closed her eyes when he kissed her, she was just like.
Well, Rainey said there's no chemistry. He's using her.
I think there's no chemistry.
Okay, so
But
I would agree about using, but also falling. So remember, okay, so he desperately, and I think I had said this like 2 weeks ago, that when you guys said, do you think he could really fall for her? I said, yes, because it's not that he's falling for her. Like, when he had that relationship with Angie, it was all about her. It didn't matter how she came at him, it was all about her. For Ramona, he's only fallen in love with the life. That's what he's been trying to do this whole time. He just wants a normal,
And she believes in him.
and she believes in him.
Because think about what she said to Tariq, a couple episodes ago. She was like, "Oh, your father could be this. He could be anything he wants to be." And that's what he wanted. That's what he wanted for Tasha. I'm
More
telling
than
you, right?
he
He wanted Tasha to be supportive like that, and he sees
did.
that in Ramona. So that's what I think.
Chelsea Cheater says she is nosy. It won't work.
Nosy.
And that
Well,
could get her in a lot of trouble with Ghost.
I think
because
he
she stopped and listened?
Yeah.
Well, you know,
I think if she sees that range, I think, because she doesn't know who Ghost really is.
Yeah,
and,
but
and if she sees,
she did that at the club, though. You know, she eavesdropped. I can understand it. I mean, I can understand where she was. She overheard a conversation, and she felt a little, sideways about it. But I think that the fact that she was mistreated by her ex-husband, or some things went down that she's a little cautious.
she's trying to make sure that he's not still holding on to Angela. She said she didn't want to compete with a ghost.
Well, she's going to be doing
and also,
that.
she's a political operative. So
Well,
she's
and I
like,
think
I want to make sure that there's nothing going on that's going to blow.
The ticket,
Blow this ticket up.
And I think that's
catch
what's
me
more,
off
and that's
guard.
more important to her right now than this so-called love
Well,
affair.
the other part of it is Ramona has to realize that Ghost comes with baggage in the form of Tariq and his kids, and so all of those problems.
Well, that
too.
hasn't even been addressed yet.
Right, but she knows that Tariq is, he's Ghost's son, and she might think he's on the straight and narrow and everything, but his problems could become her problems.
Yep.
And like you said, she's always looking out for what she looks like in the public, and so that could be a really terrible situation for her because she hasn't really done her homework.
Yeah, and I'm just like, she's open and like, this man's penthouse got shot up. His attorney got killed.
What do you need?
And she just like, yeah, I'll meet you at the hotel in an hour to talk. I'm like, sis.
Yeah.
So what about what's her name? The one that wants Ghost to be her lieutenant governor.
Lorette.
Flipping so easily.
Oh, because she's a beast. She's a political beast. That's what she is. And she's like, yeah, I like you today, but guess what?
She's looking for
you
results.
will not ruin
I mean,
me.
that
Right.
was a fast
Not
flip.
roommate. Oh, and she was like, she need a black friend.
Yep.
And so if they can't get together, she was gonna get Rashad on the ticket.
So does anybody out there feel sorry for Tate?
I don't know.
The only time I felt a little sorry for him is when Ghost didn't let him finish, because I was just like,
I felt sorry for Ghost
I
at
don't-
that time
I
because he
didn't
was dumb enough. If he stopped talking, he probably would have gotten some.
answer.
That's what I
information.
said. I felt bad for Tate in that moment because I was like, dang, he's trying to legitimately warn him in this moment, and Ghost was so busy sunning him that he sunned him.
Okay.
He sunned him. He
Here's
sunned him and Dre.
Here's another one. Simon and Ghost again.
I'm about sick of that relationship because I still feel like, how are you going to allow yourself to work for somebody that took pride in having you under their thumb?
Well, I think he was so desperate to get the capital, to get that building.
He needed that money, and he needed it right away.
So
he also got the loan for Tariq from Simon when Vincent was holding him. He got a loan from Simon, and I'm like, well, you doing a lot of loans with this man.
Yeah, they look real shallow.
I say he's a strange bedfellow, but I think that they both have something to gain, as funny as it may seem. He's one of those keep your enemies close, and or closer, and I think that's what I see with that relationship. Simon's a good person to know, and obviously it's a good person to have in your pocket when you need him. But of course, he comes back with something in return, and if he becomes lieutenant governor,
He already said he had some projects that
exactly
he wanted to look into.
right.
But my thing is, I look at that as a strength because.
On whose side?
Ghost.
Okay.
Because when you are willing to set aside your emotional with a baggage or hurt or whatever Simon has done to him in the past and say, you know what, this is business and this is what I need. And these are, in real life, those are the survivors.
Oh, those
are the people, and it can be something as simple as, your boss did something foul to you and then you were moved somewhere else and then they said, oh, well, we want you to come back and it's going to be a promotion for you. Do you get up in your feelings and be like, well, no,
so many people
so I don't want to work with that? Or do you say, you know what, no, let me come and get this promotion real quick? And so I look at Ghost as an opportunist, and he's a smart one, and he's like, okay, yeah, Simon did this and Simon did that, but Simon has the money that I need right now, and he made it work.
And that just goes to show what happens when you fall in line. I mean, Simon fell in line with what Ghost was doing, and so he gets to reap the benefits.
Right, and it's all good. I don't, because Simon don't like Ghost. Oh, James and James don't like Simon, but it's not about that.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to see through the emotion and rise above it.
Plus, plus Simon saw that he could benefit if James goes to office.
Exactly.
If he's the governor, I got a governor that I can call in a favor too.
On the topic of Tate, Dominique Dixon brought up a good point when you guys were talking about Tate and whether he deserved what he got this episode. She said, hell no, Tate deserved everything Ghost did to him after he exploited Raina's death for his own personal gain.
Okay, that is a good point.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
I was mad at him when he did that too, and when he ambushed him with that press conference.
Yeah.
Too. That was.
He got what was coming back from last season.
Well, and Simon Stern he said, you got to admit that I was right about Rashad. And that was the thing. At first I was just like, Simon being racist, in the very beginning when we didn't know.
Right.
We didn't know Rashad.
But do you guys really think that he was coming in there to warn him some like good news? Because think about Dominique, to your point. Do you really think that Tate was doing something sincere? Like, that threw me off a little bit. Why
he seemed a little heartfelt about something, and unfortunately,
that is strange because one minute you're trying to set him up with the cops, and next minute you're trying
all the time.
But
that's true. But then you're trying to bring him useful information for what?
But I think Tate sees his boat sinking, and hey, if he can jump on, if he can make amends some kind of way with Ghost. Look,
but it benefits him more to have Ghost out the way because then he can be Lorette's running mate.
Yeah, that was a little off for me.
Yeah, but again, as Tate, he wants to keep Ghost as close as he can so that he can kind of try to make his maneuvers. He can't do anything if he's completely out of the picture.
Okay.
Which I like what Ghost said. You know, you want the DNC to still keep your name in their
Oh,
minds.
that
You
was
know.
so
Yeah, Ghost did a lot. He did a lot.
Oh me,
He did a lot.
but you know that was a good line,
It
Courtney.
was a
That
good line, but
And Tate, how about can you guys agree? Tate's expression. Did he
Yeah.
work that scene?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
did.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
He
did.
was looking like
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the mirror a long time to get that look.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other things we didn't. We barely. I don't even know if we touched on it, but Raina's
Her ghost.
revisiting
Yeah.
things.
Uh-huh.
And
No, we
you
didn't.
pointed out too that she was wearing the same outfit that she died in.
Well, that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
and I like that touch. I mean, she is dead. And
Yeah,
that
but
was the
it's
last
nice
thing
to
you
see
saw her
that
in. So
the writers are paying attention to some
yeah,
stuff.
that makes
you
sense.
know?
That makes a lot of sense. It's just that she did say something that I think had to be said to Ghost, in the sense that she lied. You know, Ghost lied, but they all did.
Yeah. But
And-
she
and-
pointed that out because they like to put the blame on Tariq as the reason why all of these secrets happened between the kids and stuff. But Raina was right. We learned from you guys.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean,
But
I
that's-
think,
Go ahead.
I was going to say that was probably a sobering moment for Ghost too, because you hear that, I mean, it's not physically really Raina, but to have those thoughts and have that in your mind, because it's supposed to be like a subconscious thing where he's talking to all of these people that have passed, and to be confronted with that thought that it really was me, especially when he keeps trying to shift blame, and so having your dead child tell you that is very a sobering thought, and I think that he took that to the heart.
Well, you mentioned subconscious, so that's where I was about to go, because think about it. When he's seeing all these dead people, it's really his subconscious, what his subconscious really wants to say to himself. So think about this, okay? This is real deep. I didn't think about this just a second ago. So when Raina, first of all, he knows that him and Tasha messed up them kids.
Yep.
So that was the first thing his subconscious told him through Raina. The second thing that was deep, and I just thought about, is when they were sitting on the wall and he said, "Do you think that I should tell Tariq to turn himself in?" So think about this. As close as Raina and Tariq were, there's no way she would have said, "Yeah, go tell Tariq to go turn himself in and go to jail." His subconscious wanted to feel better about
Wow, that's a
his
good
own
point.
decision, right?
Makes sense.
Especially since
So-
Tariq said, "This is just about you." So he's trying to convince himself that it's not. It's the right thing to do.
That's
That's
deep.
a good way of viewing it
It
too.
is.
That's
It
deep.
is.
And especially when Raina was like, I paid for my mistake. Why can't he?
She wouldn't have
And I
done
was
that.
like, I don't know.
They've always protected one another.
Yeah, they have, and to the point where she died for him.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a very good
That's a
point.
good point. Wow.
Because I always thought of these dead people appearing to him as being truth tellers and bringing him the truth, and that's
exactly
But
that's one thing.
I
But I
think-
didn't think of it from the perspective of him trying to convince himself that his decisions were.
And
correct.
while your comment was extremely deep and eye opener, I think too, she saying that is also a bit of truism because she's dead, so she's kind of free from her feelings, so to speak. So out of body, she's dead, so she doesn't have that feel good stuff that we would have as human beings. And she is right that he and Ghost admitted it. Ghost said the same thing. If you're gonna be a grown man and act like a grown man, then you're gonna have to take those mistakes that come with it.
Even when Kanan's ghost was talking to him and he said, "You deserve the handcuffs and the needles." I think that deep down inside, Ghost, when he talks, think about it. He always talks about what he deserves. I deserve to be lieutenant governor. I deserve to be legit. I deserve this. But deep down, he may feel like, you know what? This is what I really deserve. The handcuffs and the needle.
And I think he realizes that because he likes to try to separate Ghost and James, and Ghost has killed a lot of people.
A lot.
But he likes to think that James has his hands clean.
He does. think
And that duality of his character is, I think it really sets him up for a life of torment.
Oh, yeah.
He goes off whenever you hold that mirror up to him. Whenever he's reminded, he held it together when Tasha called him Ghost in there because you know
Well,
when
he
she
held-
said it, she was trying to bring him down in that moment.
Well, he held it together
He held
again
it together then,
when
but a lot of times when
Tariq read him too, and
Yeah.
you know, I
We've
thought,
been reading them for a while.
yeah.
but I thought, you know, while in the what was it? I think the apartment, and Tariq read him and started to walk out. I thought he was going to run up and grab him, you know, because he had that look, that look
the
again.
club last week.
It was the club,
It was the club.
and he had that look in his eye. He was staring at the wall, you know, and
He like he was gonna cry. He like he was gonna break down at the end of that. He was angry, but he like he was gonna.
So can we talk a little bit about the emotions that Tariq brought to that scene where they were talking?
Oh yeah.
Tariq did
Yeah.
He hasn't been my favorite actor, but he did a great job expressing the emotion that would have been present in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. I thought he did a really good. For the first time, to your point, for the first time, I felt Tariq, and he basically was saying like, "What do you mean you want to be there? I'm right here.
Yeah.
Be there for me right here." And you promised something to me.
Right.
You
told
said
me.
you was going to take this,
Yeah.
and now you're going back on your promise, and you could tell all up in his face like it was believable, you know. And he really was just
You
broken.
can see that
He was
disappointment,
broken.
like all the things, and this is why I don't rock with you.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
for
it's-
all the reasons. He's
and
like,
it's also
this is reason
interesting-
number 85.
it's interesting to see him grow up too in this role.
That's true.
Yeah.
I do like that, and I don't know. I see some things coming out. I don't know if he could. I don't know if he can actually take over if Ghost doesn't come back. If he is gone for the next 5 episodes, I'm not certain if it can be the Tariq show in that regard. I don't know if it's that strong. He's that strong, but it's interesting to see what they might have in store if in fact.
But he has some skills.
No, if in fact the Ghost does leave, it would be interesting to see how Tariq steps up.
His development,
It will be
yeah.
interesting to see his reaction too. If Ghost is actually dead and Tariq is not the one who did it, to see Ghost get what Tariq has been asking for.
Yeah.
He's been wanting Ghost dead for a while, so I wonder how he will react now if
Will
it actually
will
happens.
be hurt, or
Yeah.
I honestly think he would be.
Yeah,
I do.
I think so too.
Yeah, because he tries to play the tough role like he wouldn't care. Like initially he seemed very hard about it and very cold, but I think that he would actually be hurt.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think all of them would be hurt. I think Tommy would be hurt. I think Tasha would be hurt. Tariq would be hurt. Well, not Paz and not
Yeah.
not Sax and not Dre.
Blanca, there's
Yeah.
a host that won't be, but I don't know.
Okay, well, we have gone a little long. I know people got to get to work tomorrow and whatnot, but do you guys have any closing
Well, I wanted
remarks?
did any of the viewers say, do they think, well, they said they thought Ghost was dead.
Yeah, a lot of people thought he
does
was
it-
dead. Some people think he's still alive or maybe just in a coma or something like that.
Did they say who they think shot
Yeah,
him?
can you guys let us know who you think
Oh, that's a good
killed
question.
him?
I wanted to ask that too.
Because that's the big question. Who shot Ghost? So, I think there's a little delay, but some people are saying Tasha.
You think Tasha shot him?
Yeah, and then let's see.
I kind of
Q
like
shot him.
Q
I
shot him.
said, I
Right.
think-
Well, we
I
said
think
that.
Q
I think
shot
it
him.
could have been
We
Q
said.
too.
Yeah.
But I like the way the writers said. I mean, at first I was a little pissed. I'll be
Of
honest
course,
with you.
yeah.
But then I thought about it and I was like, but you know what? This is good commentary.
Mhm.
So for us to be able, because to me, a show that is like just predictable, or you want your viewers to be in
Engaged,
suspense.
yeah.
You want them to have discussion. You almost, to me, a good writing team will listen to shows like this, right?
Yeah.
And be like, okay, I see what my viewers thinking. I see what, I'm going to give them a little something.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them a treat, right?
And JB 2496, he says if Sax or Paz did it, that would be anticlimactic, and I totally agree.
I agree with that
So,
too.
exactly.
Let's see. Dime says it's Paz. Sheena thinks it's Dre. Rainey says she has no clue. Iman 300 said you 3 ladies on the show shot Ghost. Hold up now, don't be implicating us in no crime.
That's right. But I tell you what, though,
Oh,
if,
man,
if
that is
Ghost
so
would talk
funny.
reckless like that to me at my kid's gravesite, I might have done it.
Yeah, he was talking reckless.
He was talking reckless.
And someone just said Tasha shot him because he wouldn't go to jail for his bad, disrespectful son. Which, I mean, I can see Tasha because she always says, she always tells Ghost, if you won't do it, I'll do it. And she's always willing to finish the job. So if you won't go to jail for it, then you got to go out one way or another.
I don't think, like Dre and Tommy, headshots. So that's why I don't think it's them. Headshots.
I just don't think Tommy really gonna pull the trigger on him.
I know.
Well, he had the opportunity when he drew on him outside.
And he
didn't do it.
Sheena says Dre with Tariq's help. They was already teamed up. That could be a possibility.
That's a possibility. Because I did wonder why Tariq had Dre with him when he brought him to the.
He lied real
well,
good.
Maybe, but he lies very well.
He set it up with Vincent. I don't put nothing past Tariq now.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. It got to be between Tasha, Tommy, or Tariq.
Well, they were like, we counted before, right? It was like seven people plus Blanca that was headed that way.
And the mysterious person behind it.
And the mysterious, right.
Yeah.
So really 8 people plus Blanca. So we have a lot of choices.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. The writers just really, I thought it was good in the sense that it drummed up a lot of conversation, I'm sure, all over. But definitely, left the viewers in suspense.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you guys. If Ghost is dead, do you think that the show will still be interesting for the remaining 5 episodes?
Or will you watch the show for the remaining 5 episodes?
True, right.
That's a very good question.
Yeah, I think somebody kind of touched on that a little earlier. Gotta kind of scroll back up, but I don't remember exactly who was saying, but some people were saying that the show would be boring without Ghost.
Yeah.
And then someone else mentioned that with Ghost, if Ghost is not going to be in the drug game, then the storyline is dead. Like, it doesn't really make sense for him to still be around.
Well, there are enough. Well, you gotta.
Still be dirty as the governor.
Well,
I mean,
He's gonna be a killer.
well, not only that, but
he's still Ghost.
But you still have enough people around Ghost that are still in the game, and one way or another, Ghost is going to be involved.
They're going to keep trying to pull him back in.
That's the whole point.
If
he'll
does
never
make
get
it
out.
to the governorship, he's going to still have to be Ghost in the governor's role.
And did the writers need to kill him off because of that? Because, okay, you have taken him this far. Like, how many times you going to yo-yo him? He's been yo-yoed legit back to, criminal yo-yo.
Right.
So maybe it was time for a change. But this is the critical thing. If you're going to make this shift, this big shift, it's got to be someone thorough. Because Ghost was like...
Right. I don't think you can replace him. And to be honest, I would rather see the show go completely. I want to remember Power for what it was, not have it watered down and we look at it and go.
Not have Tariq, Effie, and the white boy.
No, I don't.
Up and coming.
Yeah, I don't see it.
We haven't seen Effie since she set Rick up.
Right.
And I'm wondering if she's going to reappear in the last 5 episodes.
It's interesting.
I wouldn't say that I would want the show to die. I would just be very, very careful about because there's high expectations that have been set.
Very high.
So if they are able, they created it once. They can create another one. I don't want it to die. I like the idea that they said, okay, we're giving you this exciting show. Because think about it, people do these things all the time. They do these shows and they're great and you get all hooked on them and everything, and eventually they die out, right?
Yep.
And I think you mentioned that too, because someone just commented it'll be like JR on Dallas.
That's what
and you said
that's
that
like
earlier.
forever and ever, and it keeps you.
Okay.
But the typecasting is
I got somebody to replace Ghost.
Oh.
What do you think of Idris Elba?
Oh no, you can't replace
That's
Ghost.
Stringer Bell.
I don't know if he can be as.
You gotta break that whole character out. You can't have nobody similar to him.
I mean, did you say that because he's fine? Because he is fine.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if Ron said that reason.
Believe me.
no, I mean,
I
Tim
didn't-
does.
No, well, no.
But I think
Thank you, T. I mean,
I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, like, I don't think, like, Ghost
Oh, man.
has this, when the Ghost
I
comes
got a lot
out,
of conditions tonight,
you
don't
gotta-
I?
I'm gonna leave that
No.
alone. Never mind.
I'm a psychopath. I'm
But I
good.
get what you're saying. Because Idris, I mean.
I don't know if he has that nasty. Ghost has this nasty, like, Like you just want to, damn.
Yeah,
you know?
he can. It just can.
Well, I mean,
he can play a bad guy.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
he can be a villain.
bad.
Oh,
He
yeah.
can be a villain.
Okay.
Plus, he was Stringer Bell on The Wire. Did you watch The Wire?
I did.
And what was that movie? It was a movie he played in. He was a bad.
Yeah, it's got a few movies. He can play a villain.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Well,
No,
I don't know.
I get, like I said, they just got to pick the right person.
Well, see,
I'm
now
thinking
we're,
Ghost
but
should
you're
be
actually,
something
you're
else.
actually now confirming what Omari probably is already thinking. He's typecast because you can't see anyone.
Playing his role.
Playing his
it
role.
wouldn't be the same.
Well, but I could see him in other movies.
I can
so.
see him in other movies.
Yeah, but you know when you see him on the
If you
screen
see
that
him on the
first
screen,
time,
Ghost.
Ghost.
And well, as long as he kills the next
role.
movie he
Yeah.
does, then
Yeah.
he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so too. You
Yeah.
gotta embrace it instead
Yeah.
of trying to
Because there are
hide
plenty
from
of actors that started out with like shows like this.
Well,
and then
listen,
they-
Lorenz Tate.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I remember early on when he was O-Dog. He
Yeah.
said that he's purposely stayed away from
Those
roles
roles.
like
Roles
that
like that.
after he said it's been done well, and he wanted
Yeah, he's
to
moving
branch
on.
out.
And he's
Yeah.
done it well. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are saying, well, she says if Ghost is dead, I'm not watching.
See.
Sheena McCullough said I will be watching.
Go Sheena. I'll be there with
Yeah, and JL O'Brien says I'll watch to see how Ghost is killed. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Rainey says I watched. I haven't missed an episode yet.
you.
Dime says I'll watch. It's just 5 more. Plus, I want to know who did it.
Yeah. Me
Who
too.
killed
Oh,
JR?
Right. And so, yeah, a lot of people are saying they would still watch.
You said, oh
But,
no, somebody said something.
Oh well, she commented and she was saying she said I'll watch our reviews, but I wouldn't watch it without Ghost.
No.
But she
Thank
said she
you.
loves our reviews. But
Thank
thank
you.
Thank you for your support, and we hope that as even as this show comes to an end, that you guys will continue to watch
Follow
and
us.
follow
Yeah.
the next shows that we do.
Because
And we promise we're not gonna go dark for as long as we did last time. So we're gonna still be active during this hiatus.
But it really takes you to continue to be with us and follow us because you are our energy. We survive off you. We
Yep.
So we need you and we need your comments. So please stay
And
with
then
us.
Casey, she said that's why there are spinoffs. I will watch because they'll have Mary J. Blige in it.
Yeah.
And she said that's her girl.
But Ron, I know we're gonna have a surprise in the second half, right? A special guest. I mean, I know.
Yeah,
I know we're not gonna say no names
No, we don't
right
keep
now.
a name, but he has promised to. He has a cameo appearance in this coming next 5 episodes. So, and he's also said he'd be on the show. So, we'll watch for that. Please stay with us because
We'll let you know when it's happening. But yeah, we are planning to have somebody from
Power.
Power on the show when we come back.
Yeah, so.
Or when they come back.
definitely,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
we will be here.
yeah, we
but,
will be here when they come back.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I see a lot of people saying they now watch, or some people saying they will.
I think if they
it's
get a good
interesting.
replacement for Ghost, that's if he's
I hate
replaced.
hearing the
though.
word replacement.
But
for
right, that's
him.
if he's replaced.
Because I'm like, Power is Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could be the new in this Power Book 2.
And Power Book 2, yeah, they'll be
Because that's why, and I think that was really smart of them to do another show versus
Mm-hmm.
stringing this one along with a
Yeah.
new character as Ghost. Instead, they're saying, okay, this is it, and now we're going to start with Power Book 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I mean, something as simple as like a Harry Potter series.
Yeah, it's
Where it's
it's
like,
hard to do
you
though.
stop
I mean,
it and
it's
then
it's hard. Very few.
I think they can do it. I think people like Courtney and 50, and I think they can do it.
And I'm not saying I won't count them out at all, but
Right.
it's just it's something that's just difficult to do over in and of itself. It's just difficult because
Difficult
again,
but possible.
well, it's very possible, but again, it's like we trying to come to some some idea as to well, who would it be. So who would you like to see play Ghost? If it's not Ghost, if it was
Are
someone
we
else.
assuming that Ghost would be a
No,
part
no.
of the next season?
Let's
the new show?
No, well, let's assume that Ghost dies. Who would you like to see in his stead?
I think the
Who do you think could get
the logical
play
character would be Tariq.
Okay.
Because he's been groomed to kind of fill those shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Even though at this current point in time he's probably the most hated character on the show. I wonder if there's any redemption for him to kind of turn it around and be like the new Ghost, where he's very charming and we kind of fall in love with the duality.
Well, he does have a rather cynical charm about
Yeah,
him.
he
though.
can be charming.
You know.
What about Q? What if he was somebody related to the whole storyline all along?
I think so.
And Tasha finally gets her kingpin back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know.
That's a possibility, but I'm wondering if if he has the charisma and the charm to carry a show.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, well, a lot of people are not really feeling the Power Book 2, but Rainey said Denzel.
Denzel.
I don't know.
No, it keep Denzel is Equalizer.
Yeah, he.
Okay, well, Iman said Q is a con, and Dime said Q is fine AF. Okay.
Yeah, he's cute. Q is cute.
Okay. Well, I just want to try to close things up. Any final closing comments?
Well, I was just gonna say, are we gonna, be on next week to talk about the things that we
I
we
think
thought
that
were
we are
missed?
going to do that. So it was an idea because we noticed throughout this entire season a lot of discrepancies, a lot of holes in the story, and so we thought since Power is no longer going to be on after this week, all the way up until January, just to go in and do a whole episode of things that we felt like could have been done better this season.
Some things that could have been addressed, specifically BG is missing and stuff. I mean, there's some things questions that
need answers.
Yeah, we need
And
answers.
we need to do a show called Questions That Need Answers, Power Season 6 edition.
Yeah.
And
I
maybe,
like that.
Maybe you'll implore people like Courtney to respond back. You never know, Courtney. You
Well,
out there?
Well, I doubt that she could do anything about it at this point, but if
Not to change it, but just to kind of
Provide clarification
okay.
on some things. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she needs. I personally think that as writers, you should surround yourself with people that are unbiased and that can give you an honest opinion about your episode. And I know sometimes it's hard to trust people because you get leaks and stuff like that. But you should always have somebody on hand that you can bounce your ideas off of, and they'd be like, no, I don't really think that really fits, and what about this or what about that? But just isolating yourself and being surrounded by people that just like, oh yeah, this is great. A lot of yes men, that doesn't really work.
And we may want to go live so we can hear your comments about some of the things that you might have found to be a little suspect.
Well, a lot of people were talking about the whole Keisha situation and Tasha's earring at the scene and Keisha's luggage. What happened to that? So, that was a lot of stuff.
And who called in Keisha's
death?
death?
Yeah, there were so many things with that situation. Like she just died and boom, that's it.
And he just left her there and kept on.
Yeah. That doesn't happen. So.
Well, I understood why he left though, because he needed to get cash out of there. That's probably why.
Yeah. So. I think we're thinking seriously about doing that next week. So if you guys care to chime in about things that you felt could have been addressed better this season, that would be a good thing to do.
And we're looking at probably doing a few things on Netflix. Now, there was one episode I saw called American Son. It is a riveting show, and Kerry Washington did an excellent job. If you haven't seen it, I suggest that you take a look at it on Netflix. I'm telling you, you would sit through the thing and you'll probably feel the way I did after watching it. It has all the elements of the things that are going on with blacks and police today, to this very day, but it has its own twist. And I'd like to know your comments and see what you think about it. It's a hell of a show, and I'd like to maybe talk about it.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a good idea, especially since with platforms like Netflix, you can kind of watch at your own leisure anytime you want to. So I think that wouldn't be a bad idea. And I've heard nothing but good stuff about that so far. So I have yet to check it out, but I would like to check it out. And my girl Kerry Washington is on that show.
She's
so
excellent.
I'm down.
I would like to learn from them, like which shows they would like to see us review or talk about or whatever.
Well, yeah, and I think some of the ones that we were thinking about is, of course, we love Insecure. And then also The Shy is coming
The
back.
Shy is coming back.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were thinking about also recapping those shows. And anything else you guys can think of that you would like to hear our feedback on, just drop it in the comments. Let us know what you want to see.
And this is real talk, so it really doesn't have to be about a show.
Yeah,
Topics.
It could be
Whatever
topics.
topic that you feel you want to talk about or you'd like us to talk about, hey, give us a note. Let us know.
Yep. Reed said, "Yo, American Son was wild." They said do Top Boy. I love Top Boy.
Yeah, we were
I
just
I
yeah, we
like
were.
that.
I
Okay.
binged to Top Boy, but the problem is the availability of the seasons because Netflix
Yeah.
will give us the current one, and then we won't get another one for a year or two later.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people said Ozark because Tommy is going to be on
Now
that show
Ozark, yeah, that
Okay.
I don't know if you haven't seen it,
I haven't
but
seen Ozark, but I will watch it.
Yeah, I
yeah,
started watching it. I need to catch up.
I'm like I can't wait for for it to start up again. But
Okay.
Okay.
Those are some things to consider.
Right, and let us know how you feel about reviewing Netflix shows in general because I know a lot of time they put all the episodes out at once, and we usually do like episode by episode recap. So, is that something you guys would keep up with? Would you want us to watch a whole season and review the whole season as a whole, or do it episode by episode with stuff like Netflix? So, let us know how you feel about that as well. Snowfall. That's another good show.
Oh yeah, that
Oh,
was
I
good too.
love
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent show,
I
excellent
love
show.
that.
Y'all had some very good ideas.
Yeah.
Superfly, Godfather of Harlem.
I was going to say
Somebody
Godfather of
told me
Harlem.
about that
Because my
one,
cousin
yeah.
told me that show was really good.
Yeah, I
Okay.
haven't seen it, but I heard it was good.
The Walking Dead. Come on.
Hey, now wait a second. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. You got to go back way too far, but
I was about to say, I'm too far gone.
yeah,
on
you're
that.
too far. Yeah, look, something else on Netflix. Go see Dolomite, please. But,
Yeah,
I heard that.
it's funny, but it is a historical watch, so you'll learn a few things about. If you did, most of you probably weren't in that era. You didn't grow up in that era, but interesting show. Interesting show.
Okay, well, Reed said he is going to send us some ideas. Someone said Watchmen.
Watchmen is good too. It's I think we're on episode 2, finished episode 2. It is really one to get into because it's really weird. I mean, but weird in a crazy. I gotta watch it since because when I first saw the first episode, I'm sitting there watching it, and it was hard trying to. Which way is this thing going? But after watching it, now having seen episode 2, yeah, I'm hooked.
Okay. Someone said Ballers, Queen of the South, Queen Sugar. We started
Yeah,
off
we
with
did start with
Queen
Queen
Sugar.
Sugar. We didn't get a lot of you behind it though. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Queen Sugar. The viewership didn't seem to gauge people's interest.
So maybe you all talk to each other and bring these numbers up. So.
Oh, Arsenio's Hall specials. They got comedy specials in here.
Well, I saw Arsenio Hall last night, the special, and I laughed a bit, but I'm not certain if I didn't feel it like when he had his actual show, But time has passed, and who knows?
Okay.
It could be something.
Well, that's a lot of suggestions, and you guys gave us a lot of good ideas to kind of ponder over. So we'll definitely consider that and try to move forward with keeping you guys entertained in the meantime while Power is on hiatus. But I think we're going to close out. Thank you so much, Utopia, for joining us. You
Yeah.
always have like the best
Yeah,
commentary
she's-
She
too.
does.
And
She
of
does.
course, while we're doing this, you're always welcome to come back. In fact, you have a key to the spot. So
Okay, I just put that inside.
yeah. See, that's a lock and key now. So
And
But
thank
you
you
always have a
guys
key.
for watching, going live with us, giving us your commentary.
and the technical difficulties,
Yeah, thank you
staying
for your
in. I'm
patience.
glad. Please, good job, guys. Good job.
All right, so stick with us. We're going to try to keep you entertained and make sure we keep giving you all the content that you are interested in. Any closing remarks?
Thank you for watching. It's been a good season. Well, mid-season.
Yeah,
Right.
mid-season. We'll be back for the last 5.
We got.
Yes,
we
I'm
got-
I'm hoping Power Book 2, they get somebody good and we keep it moving.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
We got by the finale. So let's gear up for Power Book 2.
All right, well, guys, we thank you so much for watching, for sticking with us. I know a lot of y'all sat here with the whole almost 2 hours with us. So thank you guys for being so engaged and supporting us. Make sure you follow us online at The Spot Real Talk. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Keep up with us. Let us know what you want to see as we continue to do things, and just stick with us. We do this for you. So I think we're going to call it a night. All right, everyone.
And besides, I'm hungry.
I am too. All right, you guys. Well, have a good one, and we will see you next week for another great recap.
Goodbye.
Bye.